Did Joe Mixon cost you your game last night? Me frickin' too. We're going to cover that and so much more in today's episode, and I'll see you on the other side of the intro. Hit it. Hello and welcome back to Fantasy Turf War, the show where 64 teams go head to head to see who's the ultimate champion. I am, of course, your host and commissioner, Lauren. Just kidding, I'm not Lauren. I'm actually better at fantasy football than her. But just kidding, she's out sick tonight, so we do wish her a speedy recovery. But I'm gathered by the one, the only, Matthew Ahne. Welcome back, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Super excited to do the show. It's gonna be a better show now that Lauren's sick. You know, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a little less, you know, more of football.
Yeah, she said North Dakota's kicking her butt. So I said, well, here's a list of movies. So
Yeah,
catching her up. She's only got about a couple hundred to go through. So that's why I was asking you for some ideas to put on that list of cultural catch-up movies, we're calling it. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
Joe Mixon screw you over too, or no?
No,
That's
no,
good.
I'm good this week. I put up too many points.
I saw that. I pulled the rankings together, which actually a good segue. I'm going to start playing those. The Week 12 rankings are now live. So, yeah, you pulled out a win. A couple of big names on the top end of things lost again this week. So, Rad Dad's lost and Tank lost, or no, I think Tank might have won, but Rad Dad and Lamb Chops, which are the top two teams of last week, they both lost. So
Nice.
getting kind of crazy. So usually there's like one guy at this point who's like a clear defined winner, or not winner, but like a leading candidate. Maybe only lost one game, but it's pretty even all the way through. So it's good to see. It means it's a healthy competition. So it's good. I saw. Yeah, you won. You're in the top two of your division. Lauren won, so she won the Lauren Bowl. So she beat out the other Lauren in the league. So yeah, Bash lost. I think he's 4-7, so he doesn't know how to set lineups anyway. So all right. Well, I can hear Lauren yelling at us from hopefully her bed where she's resting. So let's jump into it. Tonight's episode is brought to you in part by our friend Susan over at Gridiron Goddess. Calling all Gridiron Goddesses, whether you're dominating your fantasy football league or just getting started, Gridiron Goddess is your go-to brand. We celebrate women in fantasy football. We customize team shirts. Actually, I'm wearing one right now. It's I bleed silver and black, and then it's got my last name on it. So there
Nice.
you go. Inadvertently repping the gear. So yeah, customizable team shirts, leggings, hats. I know you like your leggings, Matt, and accessories
Love
that
them.
bring the team spirit to life. Plus, you can catch up on NFL news, fantasy tips, and plenty of fun on her Instagram. She's got lots of reels pretty much every day. She's always at the top of my feed. So she's got good stuff over there. And she's putting 15% off on your next order if you put in the code Turf War, capital all caps Turf War at checkout, and then you get free shipping on orders over 50 or over $75. Go to thegridirongoddess.com to huddle with Gridiron Goddess, where the turf's always fierce and the style is all yours. So yeah, she's got good stuff, great products, and she's got really good content on Instagram. So please go check her out.
Sweet. Sounds like good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to give her a good old checkout.
Yeah, I completely forgot I was actually wearing her shirt today. So it's comfy too. I hate brands. I hate shirts that it's like you wash it once and it's garbage, but this is actually like super soft and comfortable. So it's good stuff.
No doubt. Like to hear that. Sweet. I guess yeah, you want to get started? You want to get rocking and rolling? How was
Yeah.
your
So
weekend?
um, I think of my 3 leagues, I went 1-3, so it is what it is. I was winning all 3 of my games going into Monday night, I think. If not, at least Sunday night, and then shenanigans ensued, like a 3 a.m. ballot drop. So, uh,
Shots fired.
all right. Well, before we get started, we are doing some awesome shit over here. This is a totally new thing, and we're getting bigger and better every week, just like Matt's experience in high school. So here's the deal: we need your help. If you find value from our content, if you think my superior comedic writing is good for you, or you just kind of feel sorry for me, I'll take it either way. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Right now, the biggest way to help is to bring a friend back next week, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and all that stuff. But the most important thing right now is actually we learned this week is sharing it out with on your social media that you're actually listening to the show on any platform. Is YouTube is promoting channels that are being shared, and so it doesn't necessarily give as much weight to likes, comments as much as it used to. So they're always tweaking the algorithm. It's the thing, people chase or don't chase, but it really helps us out, and it lets us know that you like what you're seeing. And yeah, but let's see, we've got a couple of things on the league front. I'll try and keep it short this week, but we still have our massive contest going on. I actually have some graphics I'll pull up when Matt's doing some of the statistics. That's going on through December 6th, 11:59 Eastern. You have not 1, 2, or 3. You have 10 chances to win. 2 of the prizes are signed autographed jerseys. The first one is a 2-time MVP, Super Bowl winner, Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. The other one was a 2007 Rookie of the Year, NFL MVP. In his career, he put up 14,918 yards, 126 touchdowns, and he still currently holds the record for the most rushing yards in a game at 296. As one of the best running backs of all frickin' time. So Mr. Adrian Peterson is the other jersey. So I'm kind of psyched. I kind of want to win it myself. If you haven't guessed, we only have, as of about an hour ago, 70 people entered into the contest. 70. So you have a 1 in 7 chance of winning something. So respectfully, get your asses in there and go, go, go. And here's the other deal. We are trying to get monetized. This is a business, and we mean business. So here's what we need you to do at home. We threw out challenges last week. Unfortunately, we did not hit any of them, but we came close. So we're going to do it again. If we cross 150 followers on Facebook, that's at Fantasy Turf War by next Tuesday, we'll give away a $50 gift card to our store on Fourth Wall to someone who's watching live in the stream. You must be watching on that Tuesday show in order to win. Right now, we're at 147 people, so that's 3 people. 3. I think we gained 4 over the last week, so I think we can get there. And as soon as we do, we will reward the community with a much desired $50 gift card. So let's see. We also have a question for the day in the community. So one of the things that we are trying to do is boost the engagement. And so we have a question for the day in the chat. While you're listening, while you got some downtime, type in the comments below. What is your biggest fantasy football regret this season? Did you screw up a trade? Did you start bad? Did you auto draft? Did you miss someone out on a waiver wire that you should have? Let us know and put your comments in the chat, and then we'll read some of them hopefully live at the end. Yeah, so that's a quick updates. And then Matt, we have a bunch of players to get to today. Who do we have up first?
Okay. So, the whole reason we're here, outside of hearing about our awesome, wonderful tournament going on of 16 teams, is who are we picking up to go and, beat the living crap out of our opponent with next week. And we're going to start off with a tight end. Usually I don't like to start off with this position, but the team has been good. And I got to say that Mr. Zach Ertz of the Washington Commanders have been pretty darn good. On Yahoo, he's about 35% owned. On CBS, he's about 72% owned. So you got to just watch out depending on the platform you have. He may or may not be available. And then you can just skip on by if you play on CBS, essentially, if he is not available. They're going up against Dallas. Dallas is a pretty much of a joke of an offense. So they're going to have the ball a lot. And, Jayden Daniels has been able to get the ball successfully to Zach Ertz pretty pretty nicely over the last couple of weeks, especially against Philly and this previous week, earning him 15.7 points. He had 7 targets and 6 receptions. He had 47 yards and a touchdown. Games like this have been happening, maybe not consistently, but he hasn't been unserviceable, especially in this tight end market where, you look at it and you go, okay, he's managing to get 11 targets, 8 targets, 7 targets, 5, 5, 5, 8, 3, 5. Like these are starts where it's like, okay, cool. If he's going to get this kind of volume, I want to have him on my team. Other tight ends out there, maybe getting like 3 or 4, maybe doing a little bit more 1 week here and 1 week there, but Ertz is getting consistent targets, and that's something I want on my team. And I rather take the upside of him doing something with his targets than the boom bust games of other players where they may or may not have the opportunity as much. And the likelihood of a boom game is, much slimmer than Zach Ertz. So I'm adding him everywhere I can. In this tournament specifically, I actually drafted him since I just weighed on him and, 16 team, they're going to get gobbled up real quick, like gobble on turkey on Thanksgiving. So, you just, huh?
Did you say turkey?
Turkey, yeah.
I heard food. Sorry.
But essentially, you just gotta go like this. Ertz equals fantasy production, and normally that's really where you want to go. So I'm gonna be adding them everywhere.
Yeah, I like Zach Ertz. I've had him for several years in various platforms of leagues, but kind of interesting to see his name coming back up. He's the veteran now, which is an interesting thing. So I have last week he got 7 targets. He's got 61 on the year. So all of that, he's got a high target volume, strong PPR floor, which is great for leagues like ours where every point like that counts. And he's, like I said, he's a veteran. So when you have some of the younger guys on the team, they look to their veterans for strength and guidance, and that's usually where someone like this comes to shine. And look, 47 yards on a tight end alone last week. That's pretty good, right? Because you got to throw a dart for a tight end every week. So if he puts up the score, then that's awesome. There are some downsides to him. So year over year, I was looking at like his last 5 seasons. The numbers are coming down. His yard after catch is 2.4, which is actually lower on the tight ends, lower of the tight ends on average. So you don't like that. But I do think in terms of picking him up, you can feel pretty confident that as the veteran, he's going to get the targets to at least make your pickup worthwhile. And if he happens to put up a score to boost, I think you're in good spots. So I like him.
For sure. This next guy here, Christian Watson of the Green Bay Packers, is somebody that I'm not really looking forward to start for the next 2 weeks. 3 weeks essentially. He's playing Chicago, San Francisco, and Miami. All pretty good, coverage. But what I'm really looking at is, okay, I'm looking at playoffs, right? Like I'm guaranteed to make the playoffs. This is a guy I want to add for the playoffs. Week 15 plays Seattle, then New Orleans, then Minnesota. All have weak passing offenses. Where they rank amongst that is middle of the pack. So essentially, you're going to be able to take advantage. Now, Christian Watson isn't a guarantee. He's very boom bust kind of player. Reminds me a lot of Deshaun Jackson. Can do a lot with a target, with a reception, and kind of make a whole lot of nothing out of something. And it shows. You look at his average depth per target. I mean, average yards per reception, and his last game was 37.5. Was able to turn around with 4 receptions and 150 yards. Like, yeah, that's great. But then you look at other games: 12, 9.8, 22.7, 33.5. It's all over the place. But all he needs is literally one long bomb, and boom, he has a fantasy productive day, and he gives you the edge. And it's a waiver wire pickup. So Christian Watson, being that he's now has dropped from being pretty highly owned to 45% owned on Yahoo. And I have 2 different platforms now pulled up. So I have actual numbers and 53% on CBS. He's somebody that you really should be considering owning. Obviously, you're not going to start over the next 3 weeks, but if you have the ability to hold till playoffs, that's the time I'm really looking to roll him out, especially if I'm starting to deal with injuries and things like that. Christian Watson could definitely come up clutch.
Yeah, I kind of had the same notes. So he had a monster week with 150 yards. So you love to see that. No touchdown there to back that up, but that's okay when you're putting up 15 points just in standard scoring kind of thing. But yeah, it is a bit of an outlier. So he is a deep threat. So there's always a chance he's just going to go off. So you do like to see that in terms of a pickup. But he's also missed 3 or 4 games this year, and this last week was a little bit of a one-off. So it is worrisome. But like you said, you're playing the matchups at this point. You're trying to get yourself into the playoffs, and you want to win at least the first week of your playoffs because that's where I usually lose. So I like the idea of stashing him now. Excuse me, stashing him now for like a 3-week hold, and then hopefully that pays out for you come week 15. So I like him, although I do hesitate when I say I like Packers. So there's also that. And then before we hop into the next player, I actually wanted to bring up kind of how we do the show. So if you're new to the show, welcome. We do have a lot of feedback that comes in from teams and start sit kind of questions. So we do try and cover those as much as possible as the show is going. We know we're not going to get to them all. So what we do is we try and throw in the last 10, 15 minutes to cover specific people's questions. We'll pull them up on the chat and we'll try and work through you that way. So if you did put one in the chat, I did see there's a couple on different platforms. We see it, we flagged it, and we'll come back to it. But hopefully we address kind of some of your stuff because I think one of your players that you mentioned is actually on our list for tonight. So we'll keep rolling through that. But I do have, before we also hop in, since I've already distracted people, I do have the Kurt Warner jersey in hand. So do you like to see that? Beautiful, with JSA certification on the back.
It'll be delivered to my house in a few days.
Yeah. The Adrian Peterson jersey. I do not have the autograph is in there. It's just on the other side. I'll flip it in. People are really anxious to see, but it's also in there. And then we have one more jersey, and I'm going to pull up the graphic here after this next player, so we can talk a little bit more about how people can win the third jersey if you're in the league. We'll say that. So, all right, who we got next?
All right, sweet. So this next guy here is Jerry Jeudy. Probably about the third week in a row we're talking about him from the Cleveland Browns. 70% owned on CBS and 52% owned on Yahoo. So definitely within range, especially on Yahoo to pick up. And I like it. Since, Amari Cooper has left and was traded over to Buffalo, he's gotten a substantial, target increase. 8, 11, and 11. I love it. It looks like he's starting to take advantage of it too. He's able to post 10 points, 23.2 points, and half points PPR scoring. I love it. I think that this is only going to continue. Yes, he has some tough matchups coming up with Pittsburgh, Denver, and Pitt again. But then, week 15 plays Kansas City. They're ranked about 13th against the pass. Then Cincinnati in week 16, the second round of the playoffs. And then a really tough matchup in week 17. That's probably where I'll probably let him slide back into the waiver pool. But ultimately, he has to be added pretty much across the board anymore. We can't ignore him. He's getting the targets, the volume, and we all see what's going on Malik Neighbors, right? Malik Neighbors is just getting volume to death. I'm not saying Jerry Jeudy has that upside or that talent, but the volume equivalent to production, and it just goes hand in hand. So the more volume this player is going to get, the more likely there's going to be at least a decent floor. So add Jerry Jeudy now.
Yeah, I've had some bad experiences with him being on my teams before, but you're right. The opportunity is ripe after Amari Cooper, and it seems like he's starting to get the share there. Did not get all of my notes completed on him, but I do agree with a lot of what you said. I think he'll get the share there. I'm not overly concerned about it, but I think that's good.
Sweet. We're moving on. Mr. Taysom Hill of the New Orleans Saints plays tight end, plays quarterback, plays running back, plays head coach, assistant coach, OC,
and water boy. He just became water boy.
Yeah, that too. He's spitting the cooler. But he's just going off. He's just doing everything humanly possible, and he's not widely owned at all. He's 29% owned, 77% rostered as of now on CBS, on Yahoo. Sorry, I got to give you both because it's two very popular platforms. 54% rostered, and he just went out in this last week and kind of just showed, hey, this is why I need to be owned here and there. I'm not going to say widely owned, right? He isn't a player I'm going to look to start every week, but if the matchup calls for it, if there's a need or more of an injuries that are happening, Taysom Hill should gobble it up. He passed for 18 yards, threw an interception, unfortunately. Had 7 rushing attempts and 138 rushing yards, which is kind of bananas. And then had a wonderful 8 receptions for 50 yards and a fumble, but still kept going. It's just crazy what Taysom Hill is able to do, being like the Swiss Army knife of fantasy football. He's a code, right? Any guy that can throw a passing touchdown, rush the ball, and receive the ball all in the same game obviously needs to be added. A deeper leagues, though, your 8 teams, your 10 teams, even your 12 teams, maybe in a pinch, but those two shallow leagues, I'm not touching. 14 man, 16 man, yeah, I'm definitely trying to get him on my team. You kind of have no choice but to start him because the depth at tight end is so ugly anyway. The possibilities are pretty much limitless with Taysom Hill, but there also could be a very bottomless pit. So you need to pick wisely.
Could not agree more. So in our league, he is designated as a tight end as his position, but he does still score you points as a QB. So you like to see it. He's just a monster in terms of stats. So could not agree more. I would go pick him up if you can. Could not say enough good things about it. But Matt, I don't know if you noticed my wardrobe change in the last section here, but I have a new sash.
That's for Lauren, right?
So it's actually good segue. It is actually I have 4 of them. So there may be a need to hand some of these out to maybe the last place in each division for some social media content. So I'm not saying that I have 4 of them. I actually have 8, but I have them. So just keep that in mind that as the punishment gets nearer and nearer for those teams, that we have some things to go with it now. So.
Oh, I would love the hand deliver one.
I am debating whether or not I should actually fly out for the actual overall loser of the league. Like, do we go fly out for it? That is on the forefront of my mind.
Put them in like a dunk tank. Oh, that'd be so great.
I was thinking more of the signs, like the yard signs or the signage guys at the corner where they're flipping the big arrows, but it says, "Here's my fantasy record."
Oh my God, you should put them in the hot dog thing, like in accepted, and ask me about my fantasy team.
I like it. Yeah, there's some good ideas. We have an idea. We're pretty sure what we're doing for ours for the 4 division losers and then the overall losers. So we are getting close. We only got a handful of weeks. And it's becoming a little bit more clear. Actually, Lauren's
in contention.
She's got to do some work to avoid it. So
I hope she loses. I'm sorry.
So would not be good for her. So suck. Also, what does that say about credibility as our host if she's one of the 4 division losers?
She's just comic relief of just don't listen to her, just laugh at her.
Is this more of a business thing for her of she just wants to make sure she's getting invited back next season or what?
I don't know. I don't even know if you're inviting me back next season. We'll see.
I actually haven't handed any invites out yet. Well, no, we did. We handed 3. So we handed the first 3 invites went to the teams that replaced the 3 ghost teams that just weren't doing anything. We gave them invites for next year so that they can defend their honor. So so they are invited back, and then we have pretty much worked out as to who's coming back. There's some teams won't come back, some teams don't want to come back. It is what it is. There's always turnover for that kind of stuff, but we'll get there. Actually, yeah, probably. I don't know, man. I saw social media. Some people got really pissed off on Monday night. So, speaking of hosting, since we've deviated a little bit, let's have some fun, and we'll actually compliment Lauren because she's winning. No, we shouldn't. Oh, well, she's actually winning the favorite host vote or poll on the contest. I think she's up to 7 votes. Matt, you got 3?
Her mom made 7 accounts.
Yeah, probably. It's okay. She's still winning.
My little girl.
Yeah, there's no prize, but just bragging rights. So, just saying, she is kicking our butts on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also wanted to bring up the bonus code. So each team in the contest has their own bonus code. You have one. Lauren has one. All the other teams in the league on their platforms or whatever, they have their own code that's unique to them that you got to go get from them. One stat I found out this afternoon is that no entry into the contest has more than one bonus code, which means that no one has gone to the other platforms to pull them, which is interesting. Especially since Lauren gave hers away on last week's show, and then not everyone's given out their code. But here's the actual contest, and so the bonus codes, the team in the league that shares their code the most wins the third jersey. The third jersey I have here is actually pretty sweet. It's a Chuba Hubbard,
Nice.
and it's actually a pretty sick jersey. So I'm a little jealous. But here's the current standings on that. Lauren actually has one, so I think she submitted her own name, so that's probably where that comes from. But Dennis Tresca over at the Rad Dads is currently in the lead at 5, and so even that is pretty low threshold in terms of winning that competition. So internally, if you're watching and you're in the league, get your bonus code out there and promote the heck out of it. Matt, no one's put in your code.
I should. It's locked, I believe. I have to actually go to double check it.
Just saying, no one's pulled your code, Matt.
I know, and I have a decent following. I'm just not allowed to post it on my actual.
I got you.
My actual locked on page where like my mega followers are, but as per network
5.
rules.
You would literally need 6 people. Like if you got so I have on my mom's side I have 64 first cousins. So like if I leveraged all of them, this should be a really easy win. I also don't have a code. So
hi Bassets. We like me, right? Use the code locked. All of Cory's first cousins, calling all of first cousins.
Say it looks like we've got about 20 people watching live. So I fully expect to have them click the link to the contest in the description and then type in locked when you see bonus codes. Just locked.
Hey, it's another shot at those other jerseys. Don't you want a Kurt Warner jersey or Adrian Peterson jersey?
Yeah, and it's signed.
Use the code locked. Come on.
So, yeah, just saying. And then the other one we do have is this one's prize is an invite to next year. And it's going to have a nice little trophy that they can display for their business. Because what 64 fantasy teams, most of these teams are small businesses, whether they're content creators or travel providers or what have you. They're all some sort of small business. And so we want to make sure that we're getting the recognition and the names out for them as well. And so we have an America's favorite football team or fantasy football team that is also part of the contest where you can vote. So this has actually got quite a bit more votes than all the other ones, which is a little concerning. So I think the current lead is 3 votes, and there's a bunch of teams in that category. So that's actually making some moves. But this is kind of where everyone stands. Let me see if I can find yours. Matt, you got 2. You've got 2 votes, so which means you probably didn't even vote for yourself at this point.
No, I didn't.
So yeah, but the winner of this competition will get an actual trophy that they can display either in their business or we'll make a digital version, something that's actually promotable for them so that they could say they were voted America's favorite team in this league. So just a nice little content boost for them. So that'll be fun. So yeah, that's all voted and done in the contest, and that'll run through December 6th, 11:59 Eastern. So make sure you're entered. Again, there's only 70 people and there's 10 prizes, so you have a 1 in 7 chance of winning something. So there's really no excuse.
And if you want that, use the code locked.
It locked. So just saying, we set the bar real low here. We want what is it? You type in locked to get bonus codes to win autographed jerseys. We need 3 people to join our Facebook group to give away a $50 gift card to what if it was today, there's currently 14 people watching. You had a 1 in 14 chance to win $50. So
if you're not even following on Facebook, just go do it real quick and you might get a $50 gift card.
Yeah, just saying. Yeah, maybe that's it. If we can get to we got some time left and I'm full of shenanigans, so why not? If we can get to 150 by the end of this show, we're still at 147. then I will give away $50 to someone who's watching like on the show right now. When we go to the user questions, if we're at 150 and we're doing the public questions, then yeah, we'll give away a $50 gift card tonight. So get out there, get it sharing, and yeah, let's make it happen. But in the meantime, who we got next?
All
Oh
right.
yeah, one of my favorite guys this year. Swear to God.
Wow. That's saying something. I'm kidding. Mr. Jordan Mason of the San Francisco 49ers. So here's the deal, right? This is
Whoa,
more
whoa. Time out.
what?
You
That
skipped
skip?
Bo Nix.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jordan Mason, not one of my favorite players this year.
I was gonna say. All right. Sorry. I apologize. I was already had him queued up, thought we talked about him. I just moved on. All right.
I mean,
So
I
anyway.
appreciate all the work you did, Jordan Mason, after Christian McCaffrey and all blah blah blah. Anyways, Bo Nix.
All right. So Bo Nix is definitely a good start for this week. He's actually been pretty consistent over the last couple of weeks. He is about 49% owned on Yahoo, 88%, which is absolutely surprising on CBS, which, wow, good for him. But has been really good. I got to say, like QBR, completion ratio, even just fantasy stats, stat lines since like week 5 on 27, 24, that 114 week, 35, 17, 20, 36 in this last week against Atlanta. Now going up against, sorry, Cory, your putrid Las Vegas Raiders. And then just like really like holding it down and getting things done. I'm truly enjoying Bo Nix. I honestly thought he was going to be the, Drew Lock of the draft and just be completely irrelevant. But no, he's actually showing out and looking really, really competent. I mean, against Atlanta, went 28 for 33. You love to see that, especially out of a rookie quarterback, especially with 307 yards and 4 passing touchdowns and not a single interception with that many pass attempts. Like, yo, let's go. He really is looking like he could be one of the better quarterbacks. I think probably the number 2 quarterback out of this class so far. So because Caleb Williams, jury's still out on him, but Bo Nix is looking pretty solid. I'm adding him. Starts awesome this week. Starts not even bad against Cleveland the following week. Then the bye. Week 15 got Indy. Then you got Chargers with a little rough. Then Cincy in week 17 against championship match. If you make it that far. Quite honestly, add him now. You might be able to start him predominantly the rest of the season. There's this thing called the mute button, Cory.
Just kidding.
Yeah. There you go.
So I actually dove deep on the stats this week. So I had to do him justice. I got a couple one-of-ones of his. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I like the statistics you gave for last week. Also, he only had 1 sack. He also had 2 rushes for 5 yards. So you do like to see when they start rushing a little bit, although you'd like that number to be a little bit higher. But overall on the year, he's got a 65% completion rate, 2275 passing yards, 14 passing touchdowns, only 6 interceptions on the year. He does have 18 sacks, which is not great. But the dual threat, he's got 63 rushes, 295 yards. So that's 26 yards per game and 4 rushing touchdowns. So you do like to see that as well. And he's gotten consistently better week over week. So I used to say this about Russell Wilson, where the first week of the season is almost god awful. Why did I do this? That draft day regret syndrome there. And this seems to be something, at least for Bo Nix's first year, this seems to be something that's kind of the trend he's on. He's got 18 total touchdowns over the season, so he knows how to get the job done, and he's effective at doing it with the numbers. And like you said, he's got a killer schedule the rest of the year. I actually look at weeks 14 and 15 as the one that he's not on a bye week. The other games, I think they're going to be close enough to where he's actually passing and going to be effective. So I do buy that. But on the downside, he is a rookie. So there's a little bit of an unknown quantity. You don't know how he's going to last as he gets throughout the season. And then the offensive line has had a little bit of a problem. So you don't like to see that on the Broncos side. But overall, I think Bo Nix is a killer pickup if you can get him. I am contemplating starting him in the playoffs if I were so lucky to make it there, which is a little bit in jeopardy right
now. That's rough. I don't know those problems this year.
Didn't you lose last week? You won 2 weeks ago. Sorry, we're in the next week.
Okay. So jealous. All the hater had just come on my side because I only have 2 losses on the season or whatever.
I haven't lost at all this season.
Oh, that's what happens when you don't get in the game. Can't win or lose.
Look, I lobbied against myself to join the league when we had those ghost teams, and I was like, no, I still can't do it. It's not fair. Like, it wouldn't be fair to join the league and then be a biased person. So
I
I
mean, it
sat it out.
wouldn't be fair if you had all the commissioning control to change the rosters on the other team, so it didn't look as bad as the commissioner looking bad when he loses.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
true. Yep, I didn't want that finger pointing. Hell no. There's already enough fingers being pointed at me for all the shenanigans from earlier this year in the platform. So I don't need I don't need that kind of love.
Yeah, you don't want to hear hashtag not my commish.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard that before. So hopefully that does not happen. God, I hope that doesn't happen. Super self-conscious right now.
You know, if I don't get if I don't get that jersey, I might start putting it across.
Right. God. There's one team in the league every day. Every day he is lobbying Sleeper to build college football fantasy football. And it's like I don't know, for argument's sake, like it's like 600 of him reaching out to Sleeper and then still not having done it. So it's like I'm gonna hear the same kind of crap.
I mean, nobody plays fantasy college football. So give
Because
up.
it doesn't exist.
It
does.
It does. It's just dumb.
Well, there goes my idea.
Yeah, sorry. It's dumb. It's not your idea, just college fantasy football. There's just too many tangibles and too many players and too many fluff games, so it makes no sense.
What about with 64 teams? No,
it'll look like
we're not doing it.
Well, it would look like a 10-team league scoring. That's how bad college football is in terms of blow up games. But
so you're saying there's a chance? No, just kidding. It's not happening.
I would love the lobby Sleeper to not only be our sponsor, but also to, maybe do fantasy baseball on their platform. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to clip this and I'm going to send it to them. Just saying, if they want to develop that thing to silence the guy who's lobbying them every morning, I know a development team that can handle this. So, yeah, we'll see what they say.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. A little baseball too. That'd be great. But let's move on. I digress to Jordan Mason, who I mentioned when I premature spoculated.
It's the thing for you, huh?
Yeah, it's always been a problem since about 13. Sorry, wife.
She's sorry too.
She is. First one's for me.
Kids, ask your parents.
And parents, I'm gonna get a cease and desist order. Got it. All right.
Nah, we flagged it as not safe for kids on YouTube. It's okay.
Good. All right. Anyway, Jordan Mason of the San Francisco 49ers. He is 54% owned on Yahoo and a whopping 74% rostered on CBS, which is wild, but I don't see a problem with it. Truthfully, you don't know what the status of CMC is going to be, right? Yes, we haven't seen a setback since his return, but also too, that doesn't mean it won't happen. It's soft tissue issues. You're dealing with, Achilles tendon issues where he had to go and get special shots in Germany and take this across the pond to go and get there. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, when is the other shoe going to drop? How long is it going to last? Do you think it's going to last all season? I don't know. Christian McCaffrey loves to get hurt in the beginning of a season, come back for a couple games, give you all this hope, make all these moves, and then right after your fantasy trade deadlines, he implodes. So what am I doing? I'm adding Jordan Mason literally everywhere if he's out on my waiver wires because I'm going to wait and see if CMC goes down, because stealing your opponent's handcuff is the best form of a double barrel, family friendly. You could see on YouTube when I'm not posting, but essentially you not only, you're holding and having a roster clog, but at the same time, if that player does go down, then essentially you now get a +1 in the running back category and then increase your depth. So we all see what Jordan Mason done. Is not like some, random guy like Deontay Foreman coming in, backing up somebody. And then it's like, okay, what is the actual possibilities even worth picking up? No, we've seen it. He was absolutely fantastic through the whole first, 7 weeks, 8 weeks of the season, if not more. So please go out, stash this dude, because I have a feeling CMC is going to go down. I could be wrong entirely, but I'd rather be on the side that had Mason on my bench the whole year and waiting on that chance than me going up against the guy that picked him up and did exactly the strategy that I was too scared to do.
Yep. So I was curious. So I was going through the notes and you get prepped for the show, and I didn't know if you were doing as like a legitimate candidate, knowing that CMC is coming back, or if it was more of an insurance policy. So it's good to hear that he's a little bit more of an insurance policy than anything else. I also love sniping teams. So if I know that I'm already eliminated, I will deliberately go out and try and f up every other team on the way out, just to make sure that if they make the playoffs, they regret it or they really earned it. One of the two, right? So I like the idea of if you need the insurance policy, you should still have Jordan Mason from CMC time. So most likely he's going to get hurt again. But go out and get him if you don't already. Make sure he's picked up in your league, because the likelihood that he goes down, Christian McCaffrey goes down again, pretty high. And don't want to be on the receiving end of that one. That is something that will just absolutely crush your playoff chances. Especially since you paid such a high price, and you most likely held on to him all season long just to have it screw you in the end. Sounds like high school.
Oh, that's bad memories. Not really. Actually, I had a good high school career. No, not gonna lie, but yeah. I mean, quite honestly, too. I mean, you just gotta like, you can never count out anybody in fantasy football. Everybody loves to get hurt and ruin your fantasy prospects in any which way. Just like Joe Mixon last night for you guys. Hate to rub it in, a little salt on the wound. It is what it is. These things happen as fantasy football. Any given Sunday is essentially the name of the game. But let's move on as I digress to the next guy.
Also the name of Division 2, but that's besides the point. So,
great wordplay. All right, so this is the part of the show where we're going to start talking about players that we want to target to go out and trade for, not just add. Right. Whole point of this is trying to buy low on a player and seeing, okay, how could you improve your team, and do you have to actually give a lot of assets up to go and acquire them. And the first person that we're going to be talking about is Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed has been underwhelming, even though he's, a top 12 wide receiver on the year. But he's been underwhelming. If you look under the hood, he really hasn't been that impressive. He's had a few games where it's just like, oh, man, really? Like 8.9 points, 5.6 points, 2 points, 6.5 points, right? And then he puts together weeks like last week where he has 2 receptions and 23 yards and a touchdown and 6.9 points. But like, do you really want to live on that? Where you're like, oh my God, he needs a touchdown to be fantasy relevant? And quite honestly, that is essentially what you're going to be telling them the whole way through this trade. Because I'm going to look at the upside. I'm going to look at week 1, for instance, before Love got hurt, where he put up 31 points because he not only had 130 receiving yards, but he also had 35 rushing yards. I can't see it on this stupid screen, but I believe that's it. On top of that, he does get, force-fed the ball, not only in rushing attempts, at least 4 a game, but does his thing and is targeted, just not hyper-targeted like the rest of the team, but he does get the most valuable targets in the end zone. So he can have blow-up games, and he can get in the end zone. He can be efficient. Plus, the playoff schedule is amazing. Seattle, New Orleans, and Minnesota. You don't want to miss out. He is the true number 1 on that team, even though he doesn't play every single snap. He's a gadget player, and they love to get him mixed in weird positions all over the field, and they create opportunities for Jayden Reed. So right now I'm trying to go out there. I'm trying to go and say, like, hey, man, look, I don't think this is really like somebody you want to rely on going in. You're trying to make the playoffs, etc. Let me give you this consistent, much lower ranked player going into the season you have to pay a lot for, that you don't really care about losing. And let me mix in some little depth and see where I can plug a hole. And boom, you're getting Jayden Reed. And I watched Jayden Reed just crush every team. I'm trying to go out there and get them in every league, but unfortunately, in every league I'm in, I already have them because I'm smart.
Oh, way to just pat yourself on the back there the last second. But no, I agree. I was trying to find some counterpoints to just make it a good conversation. He did miss a game, and he does have to share targets, but that's pretty much all I saw on the downside. So he's got decent production value. He's a deep threat, and so he's got a high floor. I don't really have many bad things to say, which is odd. So
yeah, I mean, you can't really hate on his game. He's a really good football player, like bottom line, and he's very, very, what's the word, elusive. And when he's out on the field and he gets the ball, he makes something out of nothing. And I do enjoy watching him play football, and I enjoy owning him. I think that this latter half of the season could be a very special second half, and I think he could be winning people championships. That's why I'm saying go out and get him.
Yep.
It's the same thing with this next guy here, Terry McLaurin. He's the number 5 wide receiver on the season. Maybe dropped after this last week, but he's somebody I'm trying to go out and acquire because people are frustrated. The start of the season and now this last week, we only got 2 targets and a reception for 10 yards. People are frustrated. And plus just the cloud around Terry McLaurin and his name kind of makes him more obtainable than you would normally think, especially with the way he's been performing. So you may not have to give up a whole lot to go out and acquire him. And that's what I want to see. So like I want to go out and give up a little bit. Like I'm willing to pay up just a hair, but I'm also not giving up like a great asset either. And having Terry McLaurin on my team is definitely an upgrade than a lot of players out there. You can kind of float like a Waddle and something else like that would be pretty darn good to kind of combine. It's 2 or 3 for 1 player kind of trade that kind of fills the holes on that team and, go out there and acquire him. I think that this is the perfect buy low window and probably the last time too. Plus the playoff schedule is phenomenal. New Orleans, Philly, which is rough, but then Atlanta in the championship game. You definitely want to go out there and get him. I have a feeling if you can go out there and acquire him, you're not going to be upset.
Yeah, great points. I think last week he put up 1 reception for 10 yards, so I think that's a bit of an outlier. Here's an interesting stat for you. Ready? Of the players we've talked about tonight, he's had the most targets of all of them. The highest, other than that, was Zach Ertz. He's had 61 on the year. He's at 68, and then he's also 48 of 68 on reception. So that's a 70.6% catch. You like to see that. He's getting the numbers. 721 on the year with 6 touchdowns, so you like that as well. I think you sell it as you're right. He is god awful. You should get rid of him by all means. And here you should have this guy for him, and then you take him. He's had 4 games over 100 yards, so giant potential there. Decent floor because he's got 65 and a half yards per game on average. The only downsides is that I've noticed he is getting double covered, which you don't like to see that at all. And a tad bit inconsistent, but again, the floor is high. So I think you sell it like he's not doing so hot, and then you pick him up, and then you should be fine. But I like this player a lot.
Yep, for sure. Funny enough, that's actually our last player for the day, so we can open up the floor.
Yeah, I saw. So we've got a few good chats in there. So let's pull up. Arturo Flores, he says, "Hi, should I hold Jayden or try and trade Jayden and a wide receiver for Lamar? I've got Pickens, Neighbors, and JJ."
Kieran, okay, thank you. Should I hold Jayden or try and trade Jayden for a wide receiver and Lamar? It depends, right? I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, I really don't want to rely on Pickens. He's too up and down until like boom bust. Yeah, this last game he was pretty good. I watched the game, but like, the team itself could disappear. They don't really rely on the passing game to really be successful. So for me, Pickens is not somebody I'd want to rely on. I'd rather have Jayden and roll out there with Neighbors. That's like an elite 1-2 tandem. And when it comes to going out and trading like a strong wide receiver for a quarterback, I disagree on wholeheartedly. I could stream the position, like for instance, like we were just talking about Bo Nix in this show. What's the difference going to be if Lamar puts up like 35 and Bo Nix puts up, I don't know, 25, but then Jayden goes out there and puts up 30? I think you're in the positive if then you've subtracted Jayden from your team and added Lamar. I just don't see a path where that's going to be a positive outcome for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, fair point. I like the idea of Jayden and Neighbors. So, all right, let's go on. Thank you again for the question, Arturo. Appreciate it. Also, we have the question of the day. We have one answer from that. So the question of the day was, pull it back up so I'm not misreading. What is your biggest fantasy football regret this season? Was it a missed trade, bad start, missed waiver wire? So we have one answer to that. Biggest regret for Cameron Bassett was that this season he was holding on to some rookie deadweight, hoping that they would produce. Too much potential to drop, not enough to start. So he's looking at Benson, Brooks. Yep. Is that pronounce it Dunze? Is that how you pronounce it?
Dunze, you got it.
Yeah. Yep. And then Ray Davis. So, yeah, I agree. You never know, and unfortunately, that's the risk you play when you pick up rookies. Is that you never know how they're going to translate over. Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks is somebody I'm still holding. I have him actually in every league I'm in. There's still that opportunity. He could Todd Gurley this sucker, and he has the potential to do it. How like he came in with the ACL injury after week 6 and then was the number 1 running back from that point on. Yeah, you got Chuba Hubbard there that's been efficient, but Brooks is somebody they spent high draft capital on, and eventually you're going to want to go in there and 33 million over 3 years when it's really only the next 2 years he's getting paid. Doesn't really scream somebody that they're going to go and bench Brooks for either. So I wouldn't be fearful of having him either. So if he's out there too, I'm going to be adding him.
Yeah, I think Brooks is the only one on the list that I would still contemplate keeping, and it might come down to format. So Dynasty definitely, something like a redraft. Maybe not, depends on your circumstance, and then depends on where you're at in terms of your playoff push. If you're in need of a more risky move, then yeah, I mean, like at this point, you need to start making those moves. But yeah, I can see why he's putting Brooks on the list. Everyone else, I think I'd agree with. Just like bye bye.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see if we got any other ones. Frizzle says, "Yo, what's up, fellas? What's up?"
Drizzle.
Camera Bassett again saying Lauren can't talk about her big win last night or last weekend.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God, right? And then, of course, me arguing against myself and losing is a classic. Yes, that is sounds about right. Sounds like this guy knows me for some reason. But yeah, I think that's all we got. Unless anyone else has questions or start sit roster questions, keep throwing them in the chats. We do check them, check every single one of them. Question of the day still out there. What's your biggest regret of the fantasy football season so far? And yeah, lots of good stuff this week. Lots of good movement on the fantasy turf war stuff. That episode will be out on Thursday. Our new rankings have been scrolling across the top 40, anyways. Have been scrolling across throughout the show. So lots of movement there. Lots of the leading teams have lost, which does not do well for me trying to project playoffs at this point because it just screws everything. Well, it keeps everyone alive, which is great for them, but crappy for my slides. So is what it is. But yeah, again, we did not hit. Let me pull up the count one more time. 147 still, so no gift card tonight. But if we hit 150 by next week, we will give away on the show. Also next week, I'm going to put it here so that I remember to do it. We had our October contest that went from October 1st to 31st. We had 3 winners. Our first winner responded. Our last 2 did not respond. So I will be redrawing the second and third prize winners on next week's show, or perhaps I'll do it on like just a special one-off live show. So keep on the social media for that one, but we are going to give away, if you were entered into the October contest, we still have the entries. We're going to redraw of those entries for the second and third place prize because those people never responded. So you still have a chance to win. You're not completely out of it. And then if you missed the October contest, make sure you're in the November December contest, which is going through December 6th. You can get bonus codes by following along all of the other teams' social media platforms. Matt, where can people find your code at, and what is your code?
So you can find it on X at Matthew_Ahne. My code is locked. So if you want one of those awesome prizes, use the code locked. Also, don't forget to vote for me as your favorite host because I am superior, at least to Lauren. Especially since I could show up and she can't. Get a better immune system, Lauren.
It's bad when you move from Georgia to North Dakota. Like you're gonna get sick.
I mean, sick of boredom, sick of just life, but also I guess the cold.
Yep,
it's probably already negative 32 there.
Probably. Yeah, we'll throw that up one more time. So, Matt, you're currently losing with 3 votes. So I'm gonna pull that number again next week, and I'd like to at least see you even with me, just so I know that when I start actually trying, I can blow you guys out of the water. So
all those first cousins, just troll him and not even look at him. Just give the vote to me.
Fair enough.
You don't like him anyway.
Probably not. And then if you follow the bonus codes on the November contest, make sure this is the current leaderboard. This will get shared out on social media, but they have a chance to win as well. So you can not only win some awesome prizes for yourself, like the Kurt Warner jersey, the Adrian Peterson jersey, but you can also help your teams in winning a jersey for themselves and some big bragging rights. So go out and do your thing, and we got 10 winners to give away at the end of the regular season. So pretty cool stuff. But that is going to do it for tonight's show. Appreciate you guys all for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you follow along on all of our social medias and share the show with everyone you know. Matt, where can people find you not only on your own personal Twitter, and then did you want to shout anything out?
Yeah. You can find me at Locked On Fantasy Baseball, whatever your podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram. If you have some questions for me of whether and how good trades could be for anybody that I mentioned today, come check me out and DM me on any of those platforms. I'm here to help you as a resource. Hope you get that Fantasy Turf War championship. So, let's do it.
Sounds good. And I'm, of course, Cory, your commissioner. You can find me at Fantasy Turf War on all platforms, at Cory Bassett NC on Twitter, X, whatever we call it these days. But until then, Lauren, feel better. See you next week. Be excellent to each other. Be kind. And until next time, keep moving forward. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Peace.